Auto Accident Help Desk is a marketing agency connecting callers with attorneys. Providers pay a fee for advertising services.
I love getting my kids ready and driving them to school.
But a careless driver can change your life in an instant, and insurance companies want to settle on the cheap. Auto Accident Help Desk connects victims with powerful lawyers. They fight for you.
I called Auto Accident Help Desk and got help for my pain and suffering.
Don't let an insurance company take advantage of you. Our attorneys fight and beat big insurance every day.
Call 800-297-9766. 800-297-9766.
If you've been injured in an automobile accident in the last 6 months, you owe it to yourself to make this free call with no obligation. We're available 24/7 to help you get the money you deserve for your pain and suffering. Auto Accident Help Desk helps accident victims like you every day.
Call 800-297-9766. 800-297-9766. 800-297-9766.
The Turnpike Sports Book Report.
The Turnpike Sports Book Report is brought to you by BorgataSports.com. Your favorite casino is now your favorite sportsbook. Available anywhere in New Jersey, BorgataSports.com. Sign up at BorgataSports.com using our promo code PIKE, that's P-I-K-E. Make your first wager of $20 or more and you'll get $100 in free bets. That's $100 in free bets when your first wager on Borgata Sports is $20 or more. Get into the action with BorgataSports.com. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And welcome to this week's edition of the Turnpike Sports Book Report, where we're going to be talking about some state and national report numbers. As a matter of fact, we have state record numbers to talk about. We've got some launches as well as a bunch of deals to discuss as well during this episode. But before we get into any of the deals, legislation, or launches, let's start talking. With the release of Illinois' August numbers, we can now close the book on August of this year.
Yeah, why does Illinois constantly report late?
I think that's
they're just trying to be different, or just trying to stand out, or is this a marketing thing, or why does Illinois report late?
Well, it's not a marketing thing because
why not? We're talking about it now.
Well, it's one of those things where I think they just want to be complete with the numbers.
Okay, I understand that.
You know, it's the way they do things. Every state does things differently, and we'll see exactly.
They did very well, by the way.
Yeah,
Illinois is one of the records, right?
For August, yes, they had a huge amount of parlays, but we're not even going to be talking about Illinois in terms of their individual state because we can talk the entire nation now for the month of August.
Okay, well, let's talk the entire nation then.
What we're going to be doing is we're going to go through the rankings of the top 10 states in August of 2021.
Top 10 in terms of what?
We're going to go through handle first,
okay.
Then AGR, adjusted gross revenue, and then the tax revenue. Top 10 sports betting states by handle for the month of August. As always, and it seems to be always, New Jersey is number one. $664.68 million.
Well, that's population density.
Nevada,
there's a lot of people in New Jersey.
Nevada was 428.15.
Okay.
Now remember, this is August. This is not September, where football has already started.
Okay.
And we've got some other sports kicking up. Nevada came in second, $428 million. That's about a $200 million difference between the two states there. Illinois came in third with $400.36 million. Pennsylvania was fourth with $348 million. Indiana was fifth. Let me tell you something. It's kind of interesting because New Jersey was the only state in August that broke the $600 million mark in terms of handle.
Huh, that's interesting.
We have Nevada and Illinois breaking $400 million. Pennsylvania broke $300 million, and the rest just barely got over $200 million. Indiana was fifth with $215 million. I mean, we have Tennessee and Iowa rounding out the top 10. Tennessee had $144 million. Iowa had $108 million.
Wow, okay.
So there's a big difference between 1 and 10.
Yeah.
By about $550 million.
Well, like I said, it's population. It's just New Jersey, we're all packed in here. I think someone told me we have the most people per square mile than any other state. So translating that into sports betting numbers, Jersey's going to come out number one.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Going over to the revenue side of things, this is where we see Nevada starting to drop in the rankings. For August of 2021, the adjusted gross revenue. Now, the adjusted gross revenue is a little different than the gross gaming revenue, because the AGR is where you take out all the promos and the free plays that are offered by the sports books, that sort of the special offers. And now, not every state does that.
All the things we advertise on here.
Exactly.
You take those out, and that's when you have the adjusted
take the promos,
gross revenue.
Those risk-free bets, all that stuff. But again, not every state does that, but you have to account for it when you do these revenue statements. Again, New Jersey topped the list, $52 million. Almost doubled Illinois. Actually, they did double Illinois, $26 million.
Oh, okay.
That was number 2. Like I said, Nevada drops out of the top 3 when you get to the revenue side of things. They even drop further along the line when you go to the tax side, and we'll hit the tax rankings too. Let's see. AGR, New Jersey was first, Illinois with $26.85 million. Pennsylvania came in with $18 million for the month of August in terms of revenue. Indiana was $16.5 million, and here's Nevada at 5. Nevada had $14.34 million in adjusted gross revenue.
Okay.
Not much more than what Tennessee brought in that month of August. $10 million was Tennessee. Iowa, again, was the 10th place with $6.6 million. So there's another huge difference between 1 and 10 in terms of rankings in the amounts brought in. That's for August. Going over to tax revenue, here's where Nevada drops significantly.
So this is where the states make their money.
This is what the states pass sports betting for.
Yeah, this is the whole reason for sports betting.
For August alone, New Jersey brought in $6.68 million in tax revenue, followed by Pennsylvania. First time we're seeing Pennsylvania as the number 2 state here, $6.12 million. Illinois, $4 million. Tennessee was number 4 with $2 million. Indiana rounded out the top 5 with $1.57 million in tax revenue for the month of August. Nevada came in 8th, didn't even crack $1 million in tax revenue.
Well, that's
$968,000.
These are the numbers the states look at. How much money are the states getting from taxes?
New Hampshire cracked the top 10.
Really?
And they were the 10th state. New Hampshire brought in $723,000 in tax revenue.
And the only thing up in New Hampshire is DraftKings, right?
Yeah.
Yep, they have the monopoly up in New Hampshire.
And, it's doing well for the state. I mean, $723,000 for New Hampshire is not a bad chunk of change for tax revenue for that
New
state.
England is slowly becoming a sports betting area. I mean, you have New Hampshire, you have Rhode Island, and now you have Connecticut.
And someday, we hope Massachusetts will join everybody.
I doubt that. I would bet you Maine would be before Massachusetts allowing it.
Maine is a governor's veto away from having sports betting.
You know, it was interesting. We went to Encore Boston Harbor. I can't call it Encore Boston because it's not located in Boston. It's on the Boston Harbor. It's actually in Everett. And they have the new WinBet Sports Bar. Hopefully soon it will be the WinBet Sports Book. But no, it's a beautiful area in the casino. And, they have the windows all ready for the tellers to start accepting bets. All you need is the state legislature to give the okay, and it'll be off and running.
There's something sad about seeing empty teller windows in a sports book.
Yeah.
And but they did a wonderful job at that place.
It's great, yeah.
But again, we don't know when.
I think we tweeted a picture of it, yeah,
and some video too.
Yeah.
But I don't know when Massachusetts is going to get off their duff and pass sports betting. It's just kind of weird that everybody wants it except certain senators, and those
by the
are
way,
the ones
it's
causing the issues.
It's the corporate headquarters for DraftKings.
Yeah,
it's so the time has come, Massachusetts.
I wonder when DraftKings is going to formally just move out to Nevada, because they just announced their new structure, their building out there.
Yeah, they're hiring a lot of people.
Yeah.
They have a brand new office in Las Vegas.
I think it's 90,000 square feet. It's
Something
almost
like
the same size as their Boston headquarters. 1,000 people they're going to be bringing over there. So I don't know. I guess if Massachusetts doesn't get off doesn't pass sports betting, maybe they move.
Well, I don't know.
It'd be kind of interesting to see what they do. Maybe New York would be
they still do very well with fantasy sports here.
Plus, also New Hampshire. They own New Hampshire.
Yeah.
So Before we get into some of the September numbers, let's do some year-to-date numbers as well as complete post-PASPA numbers, rankings. We have, these aren't rankings, these are just going to be the total numbers through year-to-date 2021, through August, since we now can talk August.
Okay.
The total handle for this year, 2021, just under $30 billion, $29.995 billion.
Wow, $1 billion with a B.
With a B. Gross gaming revenue, $2.359 billion with a B. Adjusted gaming revenue, $2.022 billion. Win rate. This is kind of interesting. People are starting to break out the win rates according to the gross and the adjusted. The gross win rate, 7.86%. Adjusted is 6.7%. Not much of a difference, but, and taxes, $322 million brought in through sports betting for taxes year-to-date of 2021.
Wow. See, well, like I said, it's very profitable for a state, so...
Now, do you want to hear the staggering numbers from post-PASPA? This is from May of 2018 to now.
Okay. Who's keeping these numbers, by the way?
Everybody.
Everyone?
Everybody's keeping these numbers. This is everywhere.
There are just people in a room just calculating these numbers.
Well, you got nothing else to do. You might as well calculate gross gaming revenue through August of 2021 from May of 2018. We have the handle, national handle, $69.3 billion.
Unbelievable.
That's an amazing number.
And it's just going to go higher because, more states are jumping on the sports betting bandwagon.
Gross gaming revenue, $5.16 billion. Adjusted gaming revenue, $4.667 billion. A national win rate since May of 2018 of 7.5%.
Wow.
That's on the gross.
Okay.
Adjusted is 6.7. Taxes is $721 million so far since PASPA was overturned. That's some incredible numbers there. I mean, like we said,
that's why states pass sports betting to make these numbers, to make to fund roads and hospitals and schools and things like that.
I'm going to have to take a really good look at these numbers to see exactly how much New Jersey has contributed to this, because New Jersey has been leading every category for I don't know how long.
Well, like I said, I'm curious to see how. I haven't heard too much about New York when they're going to start mobile betting, because New Jersey not only has their citizens betting, we have a lot of people coming from New York because they don't have mobile sports betting, and everyone's riding the trains. These things are like rolling casinos and rolling sports books. You're jumping on the train and hitting Hoboken or Jersey City, and you start betting. Did someone call read an article?
The New York Times had an article about the George Washington Bridge Casino.
Yeah, which means people are just driving over the George Washington Bridge.
They're not even doing that. They're riding their bikes onto where they can stand on the bridge. They get to where the geofencing stops, and they just start placing bets. Whether it's casinos or sports books, they use the George Washington Bridge as their casino, which I think that's actually kind of cool.
They're riding the trains, playing online casino. So, like I said, it's I'm very curious to see how that affects New Jersey's numbers when New York finally gets mobile sports betting, or when they finally get mobile casino games. I'm not sure if they're going to get that anytime soon, but I think mobile sports betting is pretty close.
Well, according to the New York
launched.
State Gaming Commission, they are still reviewing the applications. They still have a bunch to go through. They had the 5 applications. 2 of them were like super group applications, so they're still going through those, and there's really no timetable for a decision to be made yet. They'd love to see it by the Super Bowl. I don't know if you're going to get that. You may get New York by March Madness. I don't know about Super Bowl.
I mean, for months they were really pushing, and I thought this was about to happen in New York, and then I guess the thing with Cuomo happened, and everything shifted, and so we'll see what happens with New York.
Well, again, they're reviewing the applications.
Yeah.
That's all they've been saying. We had a whole bunch of states report their September numbers now that we're done talking August.
Now we're in September numbers? Okay.
Yep. We have Indiana, West Virginia, Michigan, Arkansas, all reported their September numbers, and we have a couple of records.
All right, let's hear the records.
Indiana, and this was kind of interesting. They set state records in September for sports betting total handle, online handle, and gross gaming revenue. Total handle, which is the retail and online combined, $355.4 million. online handle of $326.6 million, and their gross gaming revenue, which is a brand new record for them, $33.3 million.
And all records.
All records for Indiana. That market is actually going to be fun to watch because they're going to be adding more things to it. I know some books now are doing the single game parlays there now. Not all of them had that option. So that's going to maybe increase some of the betting. Football started.
It seems like every sports book has that now. I mean, that's a big
not everyone
thing.
in every state. Not everyone in every state has it.
Yeah, but
so it's going to be interesting to see the impact when certain books.
Keep an eye on that because you won some money on the single game parlays, right?
Yeah, I get lucky from time to time. But again, single game parlays are fun, but you got to make sure you choose the right things to bet on there.
Well,
because I don't go outlandish.
That's true
with some
for every bet.
I don't go outlandish with some. I don't do these long shots like some people do. Let's go over to West Virginia. They also reported a new state record in September for state betting revenue, $7.141 million. That is up almost 260% from August.
Wow. Okay.
That's a huge jump. That they're reporting it's all based on football.
All right. Well, yeah, I guess so.
It's football. I think it's also baseball playoffs, maybe. And I really don't think the exhibition seasons for basketball and hockey bring in a lot of money.
I don't think so either.
I don't know. I there are a lot of people that bet on the preseason stuff.
I think that's football.
That's got to be football. State's previous record revenue was $6.5 million, just a little below that, set back in December of 2020. So almost a year ago was the record. Michigan reported their September numbers. They have a state sports betting record of handle, $386.8 million, up 85% from August. That's, again, football.
Mm-hmm.
Previous record was set in March of 2021 when the state took in $383.7 million in bets. So we had a whole bunch of new state records being sent out. Actually, before we get into some of the deals that we need to talk about, I don't think we we had an opportunity last week to welcome Louisiana to the sports betting industry.
Yes. There's still only one place to bet, right?
It's a tribal casino.
Okay.
And the commercial casinos are still waiting for licensing. But right now it's the Paragon, which is Betfred.
Okay.
They are now the 28th state, and plus D.C., so 29th jurisdiction, I guess you can say. 28th state and D.C. now have operational sports betting markets, and we've got 4 other states coming on board soon. And I think Louisiana is going to be one. Florida, going to be fun to see exactly what happens there. I know October 15th is what everyone has been saying for retail sports betting, but I've been seeing reports that that's just a loose date.
Okay.
That's what the compact said. Whether or not they actually do launch the retail sports betting on that date, I don't know. So we'll see what happens there. But we have Connecticut just launched as well. So probably when they have their formal full launch of online sports betting, which is probably going to happen before this even airs, you're going to have 29. So we'll see what happens there. I can't wait to see Arizona's first full month of numbers, too.
Oh, they should be huge. Huge.
A couple other numbers to go through here. This is from the American Gaming Association. Combined revenue from sports betting and iGaming accounted for 11% of the total U.S. commercial gaming revenue in August.
Okay.
One last August number.
Oh, one more August number.
Yes. Let's go into some numbers in terms of... I found this kind of interesting. Sport Radar released some information regarding suspicious betting activity.
Huh, okay.
And I kind of found this kind of interesting. More than 1,100 suspicious sports matches since the start of the global pandemic in April of 2020. 655 of those matches detected were in the first 9 months of 2021, though.
Huh, okay.
And soccer was the sport most at risk for betting-related corruption, according to them. That's a kind of an interesting way to phrase that.
I got to tell you, there is so much soccer on. I never noticed before sports betting how much soccer is on because there's so many leagues and it's constantly being played. I mean, on the East Coast here, I there's soccer matches in Europe and Asia that are, you can turn it on 8:00 in the morning and you can see a live soccer match.
Almost 40%
unbelievable.
of all the suspicious betting activity was related to soccer.
Okay, all right.
One quick launch to talk about: Golden Nugget is now the 9th sportsbook in Virginia.
Okay,
they went live last week.
All right,
and 2 deals to really talk about. PointsBet is now the official or the exclusive sports betting partner of Curling Canada. You're going to see PointsBet using the Curling Canada brand in its marketing campaigns. They're also going to be, the book is also going to be the title sponsor of Curling Canada's Seasons of Champions event, which is the kickoff for the 2022 season of curling.
I got to check that out. I don't know the first thing about betting on curling.
I don't even know how they score it.
Yeah, I know. It's one of those things that it's one thing that sports betting does. It kind of motivates you to learn about a sport. You mentioned curling, and they're starting to bet on curling. I mean, I'm curious about curling now. We've all seen it, and with the brooms and the, what do they call it? The stone? Is that what they call it? The stone? And I seriously do not know how you score it, or what's the top teams, or what's the top country for curling. But talk about fan engagement. This is a good way. It's a good example of fan engagement. I'm interested in taking a look at curling now.
I wonder if PointsBet Canada, the stuff that they're going to be promoting, the sports they're going to be promoting from Canada, are going to bleed down into the U.S.
You mean me in New Jersey, will I be able to bet on curling?
I think you can already.
You can already?
Because it's an Olympic sport.
Sure.
So, but I'm just wondering if marketing.
How often is curling matches shown?
Not know. I don't know. I didn't even know there was a curling
Is there a season for curling? I don't know.
Well, let's get back to some more firmer ground in terms of a deal here. We have DraftKings. They announced a deal with the National Hockey League. It's amazing to me that whenever you see DraftKings do a deal with a league, there's always some other deal attached to it. Because here we have the National Hockey League doing a deal with DraftKings, making DraftKings the official sports betting, daily fantasy, and iGaming partner. Because they have the DraftKings casino now.
Yeah.
Of the league. But they did a deal in conjunction with this with Turner Sports, where they are also the exclusive sportsbook and daily fantasy sports provider for the Bleacher Report, which is owned by Turner Sports, for coverage of the NHL. So they got a 2-for-1 deal here with this.
Yeah, great.
I guess you can look at it that way. You're going to have DraftKings granted access to NHL assets. They're going to have themed sweepstakes and enhanced promotional efforts during the regular season, the All-Star Weekend, Stanley Cup playoffs, Stanley Cup finals. And also you're going to see a lot of DraftKings content integrations into Turner Sports through Bleacher Report's digital channels. So it's kind of going to be a across-the-board DraftKings, NHL, Bleacher Report, Turner Sports kind of deal. So going to be kind of interesting to see exactly how everybody works with that. It's going to be fun to watch because it's always good to see some of these things happen. A couple other news and notes real quick. Betfred renewed their sponsorship arrangement with Super League, which is a soccer league.
Okay. Back to soccer, see?
Back to soccer.
Super League, I've never heard of Super League, but, it's another league out there for soccer.
This is another one. Betfred also did an extension of their agreement with the Rugby Football League. Now, I've been seeing a lot of news regarding the rugby leagues in the United States looking at getting into sports betting.
I've actually watched rugby out of it's professional rugby. I think it was a New York team. I can't remember what team they were playing, but it was professional rugby. It was a New York team, but I think they were playing in Jersey City.
It's almost like a combination of American football with Australian rules football and some soccer thrown into it. And I actually have to learn rugby.
Yeah, well, it's a rough sport, man.
It
was a lot of fun to watch.
No
padding.
No padding.
Little or no padding. Some guys had these plastic, or not plastic, but like a little leather helmets or whatever.
Mean like those old like leatherhead helmets?
But but I don't see how that even provides any protection. But it was fun to watch, and it was a professional rugby league.
Well, that's it for this week's book report. There's a whole bunch of other stories we didn't get to. Head on over to turnpikesportsradio.com, click on the blog button. You will see a print version of these stories we did talk about and stories we did not have a chance to talk about this week on our blog.
And that'll do it for us this week. We'll see you next time on the Turnpike.